I remember as a kid around Christmas time, the thing that excited me the most was not actually the gifts that I would end up getting, but the anticipation of it. As the tree slowly filled up with gifts underneath it, I'd sit and wonder, what was it? What was the potential of what I was going to receive? I just wasn't sure. The only one in my family who really was my little sister, because she would sit and unwrap all her gifts and then rewrap them. She didn't have to anticipate anything. But for the rest of us, it was that anticipation, that wondering what it all would be. Would I get anything that I even put on my list? Or it'd be something completely different? Or it'd be that yearly gift I got from my godmother of a book. You just never knew what the potential was. And how it must have been so for Mary and Joseph. As they had the gift of this child, but amazing things were happening around him, around his birth. First, of course, the angel shows up to Mary and says, so, by the way, you're going to be the mother of the Son of God. What does that even mean? I don't think Mary fully understood. And of course, then he had to convince Joseph of the same thing and let him know what was happening. So Mary and Joseph then come and they show up. And they have to have the baby in a stable where they place their son in a manger, where animals eat out of. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. But then these shepherds show up and say, we've just heard a band of angels tell us to come here. And then these three, let's be really honest, random dudes just kind of come. And they bring these amazing gifts. So often we focus on the gold, but honestly, the frankincense and myrrh was worth more than the gold that they would have brought. Or they would have been bringing a lot of gold. And they lay these amazing gifts at the feet of their son. What does this all mean? And then they have to figure out, think about this for a second, how hard it is just to raise a child. That's its own difficulty. But then to realize that you, as a finite human being, have to figure out how to raise the Son of God. But they did it. They opened up to their own potentiality. They opened up to the gifts that God had given them. The gifts of faith and trust. Of living, as Joseph was called, that life of righteousness. Mary lived a life of graciousness, a life filled with grace itself. And by simply being who they were, and opening up to that full potential of allowing God to use them as the instrument he desired. They would open Christ, they would allow Jesus to come to understand his own potential and to embrace that. For he was a child that was born to die for us. His whole purpose of coming was the cross, to open for us the gates of heaven, For if Jesus did not do that, none of us could go to heaven. He is the only way there. And the totality of Jesus' life, the potential of how he chose to live that life, is summed up in those simple words. Not my will, but your will. And it's there that the potential of Jesus' life is truly understood. And he has given to each of us that gift of life. And each of us has that potential to be God's instrument. To allow, like Jesus, for God to be seen through us. Because that's why we're here. And each of us is radically important to allow God to be seen. For each of us will show God in our own unique way. For no human being outside of Jesus can show the full reality of God. And so we're all needed to make that happen. And that is ultimately the gift of Christmas. It is that constant reminder to us of what is possible. We don't have to have all the answers. Mary and Joseph clearly did not. But simply by choosing to live the life that God has called us to live, amazing things can happen. By being focused not on ourselves, but on the Lord. By making those words of Jesus our own. Not my will, but your will. It is there that we can begin to unwrap the gift that we are. That gift that we are called to be in the lives of others. And each of us can do it in our own way. As Mary and Joseph did it, each in their way. Leading to allow Christ to understand the gift of his own life and what that would mean. May we then truly embrace the gift of this day. The gift of the life that God has given us. That life that is so important. Not because of what we might want to do with it, but because of what God desires us to be. May we be that gift of God to others, as Mary and Joseph were to Jesus, by simply unwrapping our own potential and truly embracing the gift that Christmas is, the gift of Christ, and allowing that gift to be given through us.